Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of KPW War Zone, and we do apologize for the late start. We had a little bit of transmission issues between here and the production truck, but we are now live, locked and loaded. It is I, Tapey Styles, calling the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. And tonight we will have the official contract signing for our main event on November 29th. Collision Course, the main event, one of the biggest bouts of KPW's short yet storied history, as Pando will be defending the World Heavyweight Championship against the Viceroy Jedi. But coming up tonight, as far as the action goes, we have one hell of a card to present to you. As in our main event of the evening, we'll be seeing the Blue Chipper take on the Man Beast. Bam Dardino goes one-on-one against Crisp Billy. Also still to come, some heavy presence courtesy of Parliament, as Oliver English and Hosway continue their endeavors as a tag team. Oliver English shocking the world last week. Nobody expected him to take so much time to put down such a selfless act, just going the full distance with his tag team partner last week against the Boise Boys. They now look to score a sizable advantage, make one hell of a clearing for Collision Course, as they'll be teaming up against Slarty Shuko, otherwise known as the First Nation, here tonight in tag team competition. But that is not all, folks. We still have more Parliament competitors on the scene here, as Papyrus, the 400-pounder, will be going one-on-one against the leader of Bunker Hill, Popcorn Papi. But to kick off the festivities here tonight, we have quite the singles bout to bring to you, as a star attraction clashes with a prize fighter. Pierre Cinema will be going one-on-one against Venom Artemis. Pierre Cinema, he's been in the eye of the storm. He's been in one hell of a controversy regarding himself and the director, Steven Gilbert, a man that's been trying to blackmail Pierre up to the top and step over him to get opportunities that he feels could have been his if he was just a little bit quicker to the punch. However, Pierre Cinema has stood his ground. He has stayed the high road, and who knows how much longer he'll be able to tolerate Steven Gilbert. And speaking of the devil, that's not the music of the prize fighter. We saw this man join forces with the scheme last week on Warzone.
Were you expecting somebody else to come marching down this aisle to see you? I'm afraid they weren't able to make it to the building in time to compete tonight. However, in the interest of fairness, I wanted to make a compromise, because that's what rational people do, Pierre. They know to meet in the middle. And that's why I'm here to make you an offer that you can't refuse. In fact, refusing would have some real terrible repercussions. Regardless, I've arranged a replacement for your match here, and as I said before, because I'm a fair man, I'll fight anybody you want next week on Warzone. But first you gotta get through this opponent.
It appears that Steven Gilbert, he has handpicked some serious opponents, and oh no. This wasn't an interest of fairness. There's nothing fair about this whatsoever. Pierre Cinema has been very consistent in resisting and calling the bluff of the director. And now this is the second time that these gang of thugs have ambushed Pierre Cinema here on Warzone. I can't believe he was able to get this approved with the board of directors, a handicap match. Bloom, Bilko, the scheme, they've been more than... This has just been the perfect, most tailor-made opportunity for them ever since they've joined the folds here. They've been looking for a perfect opportunity to strike and punch downwards. Pierre Cinema, he is just completely outmatched. He is outnumbered here. Hurricane Rana, knees on the shoulders, a 1 count though. Bilko trying to go for a snap suplex. Pierre drops all that dead weight and just lets him take the fall for himself there. But this is quite the precarious position here for Pierre Cinema. We know that he's been able to get the upper hand against Steven Gilbert. We can't say that he's gone completely unscathed in these situations. But he's been very consistent in getting the better out of the director. And now we are seeing a complete mugging back-to-back weeks. Combination neck breaker.
Count two.
And Pierre still has some fight left in him. Running knee from Bilko. Bloom repositioning Pierre Cinema. A little bit of high-low from the scheme. Wherever the prize fighter may be, we can almost certainly count on Steven Gilbert on the scheme for being utmost responsible.
1, 2,
for any kind of delay, any kind of disappearance,
4,
for any commitment that he was not here to make here tonight.
7, 8, 9, 10.
Bilko, Bloom, they already had the advantage. This is on another level of disgust here. This is quite possibly one of the shiftiest actions that we've ever seen them undertake here. Not just standing in to take on Pierre Cinema in handicap action, even bringing weapons into the equation. You already have the man outnumbered. Anything further than this is just insult to injury here.
1, 2.
Bilko trying to keep the pressure up here. Pierre Cinema fighting back on the outside.
5, 6, 7.
He's trying to snap the arm of Bilko.
9.
He wants to send a personal message to Steven Gilbert. And we know that Steven Gilbert, he claims to have one hell of an ace in the hole. He wants to put an end to the career and the reputation of Pierre Cinema. He told him flat out.
1,
Dragon suplex.
pinfall.
And the scheme steal it. A cautionary tale for collision course. What could possibly lie ahead for Pierre Cinema if he doesn't answer the demands of the director and lie down in the center of the ring to protect his career, to protect his reputation? Steven Gilbert, he's more than pleased at this result. He's marching down to ringside here, congratulating the scheme on a rug pull, well done, a bait and switch. We get another good look at that tiger suplex that put away Pierre Cinema. What the hell is this? Steven Gilbert, he's making a move. This is just completely uncalled for. Just when you think that Steven Gilbert, the scheme, the collective studio, could sink to any lower depths than they've already done, he is here to make a complete mockery out of Pierre Cinema. The chicanery on display here. The depths just keep getting lower and lower. There's gonna be a special circle of hell dedicated and entrusted, entitled to the studio. And Pierre Cinema, he's been busted wide open here. Cameraman, we were able to follow this right behind the curtain. As Steven Gilbert throws Pierre Cinema into the boiler room, locking the door behind them. Nobody gets in and nobody gets out until Steven Gilbert gets exactly what he wants here. And Pierre Cinema, we've known him to be quite a resilient man. He's had one hell of a career here, and what this all stems from here, folks, is just another textbook example of jealousy and vitriol, just almost malice from Steven Gilbert. He's got that table set up here. Blue shell bomb through the table.
Knockout.
And thankfully, this mugging has come to a complete and total stop here. Steven Gilbert has done everything in his power, everything in his will and wherewithal to make Pierre Cinema's life a living hell. And tonight was no different. The second week in a row where Pierre Cinema has marched himself into a trap. And if this is what awaits him at Collision Course, maybe it is the smart decision for him to lie down. I don't agree with it necessarily. But if Steven Gilbert is gonna take things to such extremes here to try and get any sort of personal retribution, Pierre Cinema, he needs to take this to another level or just lie down on his back. And coming up next, on War Zone. More singles action to follow as the 400-pound Papyrus takes on Popcorn Papi. It is Parliament versus Bunker Hill once again. It goes without saying just how much momentum this man has picked up over the past several weeks, the past several months at that, especially with his prominence and taking the fight to Parliament. Popcorn Papi has been on a hell of a mean streak. He's been picking up victory after victory, stacking W's week in and week out. And he's been picking up one hell of a grassroots movement within the Kumite faithful. And we know that certainly a title shot, a world title shot, could be approaching Popcorn Papi's future rather sooner than later. But if he wants to keep any kind of momentum up, he's got one hell of a roadblock. Look at us stand across the aisle from him, awaiting him on the other corner of the ring, the 400-pounder, Papyrus.
Fight!
Popcorn Papi has quite the checkered history here in KPW. A very storied history here in KPW, to say the least. The first ever hardcore champion. A record-setting three-time KPW Twitch champion. Nobody's been able to understand and deliver in high-pressure situations quite like this man. And we've seen him take quite the fight to Parliament before. This man included, as he's trying to lift up the big man for a big scoop slam. Papyrus not giving it an inch, however. Drop kick, only stumbling back Papyrus. Popcorn Papi trying to go for the scoop slam again. And this is a bold strategy here from Popcorn Papi. Do it while he's still at 100%. Do it while he still has the full capacities. But that comes at one strong cost to Popcorn Papi. Papyrus has not been softened up for any sort of power move, any sort of offense like a scoop slam. He's not gonna break his guard for 1 minute to allow Popcorn Papi to get in that crucial, potentially match-changing move there. Action spilling down to the floor in front of the Kumite faithful here tonight in the packed, stacked, and sold-out Kumite Forum. Forearm strike from Popcorn Papi. He tries to move in for the kill here. And he's been very light on his feet, very diligent. He knows exactly how quickly he's going to have to make his calls and make his moves here in this bout. Back suplex on the floor.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Big slam onto the floor, back-to-back instances.
13, 14, 15.
From the boss of Bunker Hill here,
16,
dropping the elbow from the apron.
17.
And we know that he would not settle for any sort of count-out victory. He dropped that elbow down just to wake up the big man. And one has to wonder if Popcorn Papi is biting off a little bit more than he could chew. Papyrus, he is not your run-of-the-mill. He is not your average warrior here in KPW. He will take the fight more than anybody else could possibly withstand here. Almost certainly one of the largest men in the KPW locker room, 400 pounds. There's only one man that we know with absolute certainty that could outmaneuver him and outperform him in size and mass and destruction. And we'll be seeing him in action for our main event here tonight. Back-to-back body drops, courtesy of Popcorn Papi. Crucifix pinfall. And Popcorn Papi uses the weight of the 400-pound Goliath to his utmost advantage here. That's a lot of pressure on the shoulders and neck of Papyrus. That's a lot of pressure for a human to withstand there. And Papyrus, you gotta give credit where it's due. He's a very athletic individual for a man of his size and stature. He's got the speed, he's got the agility, but what this proves here tonight, folks, is that he just did not have the flexibility. And Popcorn Papi has used that to his utmost advantage here, and it is almost certainly paid off. Another week of action, another turnover for Popcorn Papi as he continues to stack the W's, not just for himself, but for Bunker Hill. Congratulations to Popcorn Papi here tonight. But that is not all here, folks. Coming up next, Parliament is back in action. They are back in the saddle as two teams vie to fill in the void left by Bunker Hill, consequently, when they lost the tag team championships at Madhouse. Who will be able to step up to the Murder Hornets? We saw the Boise Boys lock themselves out of contention. We saw the Raging Bulls knock themselves out of contention, which has provided the perfect opportunity for the team of Oliver English and Hosway to step in. But what this also provides is the perfect opportunity for the First Nation to become two-time KPW Tag Team Champions. All they need to do is secure that golden ticket here tonight and make sure that Parliament goes 0 for 2 here tonight on Warzone. Parliament marching with a renewed sense of pride, with new motivation, with a newfound dignity, as Oliver English has been working week in and week out to try and restore some order within Parliament, try and restore the faith within his group, within his collective. As they aim to get one step closer to their great vision. They've been quite derailed since Madhouse. But certainly a victory over the First Nation would get them right back on track. Shuko on the left, Slarty on the right. Who the leanest, meanest, the baddest men in the KPW locker room. Certainly one of the baddest teams in the tag team division, and they have one hell of a resume to back it up here. Slarty kicking off this bout here. Oliver English, the Monarch, oddly enough, electing to start this match for Parliament. And where this partnership truly began, Hosway, he was well on the way of parting ways with Parliament. He was very unsatisfied and satiated with his role within the faction ever since he took the pledge to join Oliver English back at Summer Spark. He wants to make one hell of a difference. He wants to make things right. He wants to establish a new pecking order within KPW. He wants to have that strong position of power. And if it means that he's got to give that assist to Oliver English to ensure that he is more than willing to ensure that becomes the reality here. Rapid fire headbutts from Slarty. Shuko tags in the mastermind of the two. The faster, the more agile of the First Nation. A master strategist. Slarty was there to set the tone for some general deconstruction, for some demolition tactics at the expense of Parliament. Side suplex from Shuko. Shuko trying to go for another suplex. Oliver English motioning for the tag here. Is he going to tag in Hosway? Wristlock counter from Oliver English to Shuko. And Hosway enters the bout. A little bit of miscommunication. You could tell that the efforts of Oliver English and Hosway, they're still very much a long ways away from being a polished tag team here in KPW.
1, 2, 3.
And this tag team championship push that they've been making strides in. This has been the Monarchs' olive branch for Hosway for the secret weapon. Pendulum backbreaker from Shuko. As Slarty makes the tag, he motions to make the attack on Hosway here. Tandem offense from the First Nation, a double suplex. As Hosway, he is a long ways away from his tag team partner. He is trying to do whatever he can to close that gap. Slarty looking to take Hosway's head off with that clothesline. Sweep kick takes Slarty off balance, buying him enough time for Oliver English to make the quick tag. Make those frequent tags, conserve the energy, conserve the stamina of your teammates. It is a tried and true strategy to stay one step ahead of the competition. Slarty making the move on Oliver English. A quick thrust to the throat. Taking him off his feet and down to the mat. Abdominal stretch from Oliver English. And speaking of these combatants here in the ring next week on Warzone, we have quite the card to bring to you. As we understand, we will be seeing a special announcement unfold in the very ring next week regarding one of the long-standing rumors going around here in KPW as of late, as we are here to confirm the rumors of a potential new championship belt that will be actively defended here within the realms and the confines of KPW, with more news to follow in just 1 week's time. We'll also be seeing at least 2 of these 4 men in the ring in action, in singles action next week, as Slarty will be going one-on-one against the KPW Twitch champion, the Sauce. We also now know that Hosway, the secret weapon, will be going up against more Bunker Hill combatants, as he'll be going one-on-one against the heartthrob Popo. And as we're finding out, Pierre Cinema has selected an opponent for Steven Gielberg next week on Warzone.
1, 2,
As the board of directors,
3,
we heard that conversation, we heard that big talk
5,
from the director about the interest of fairness.
7,
Pierre Cinema still went through with that 2v1 handicap match earlier on tonight, and we can confirm that Pierre Cinema, he has selected an opponent for the director to go one-on-one with, but he is not going to reveal who has answered the call to take on Steven Gielberg until they waltz through that curtain in just 1 week's time. Parliament presence will not be diminished by any means, as we know that we will be seeing 2 members of Parliament in tag team action in just 1 week's time. But ladies and gentlemen, still to come here on tonight's program, our main event in the evening, as well as a World Heavyweight Championship contract signing, as we can pencil in one hell of a date for Collision Course, November 29th, as the Siberian Silver Bear Pando takes on the Viceroy Jedi, as he gets his first crack at the World Heavyweight Championship ever since he lost the belt back at Mayhem just 6 months ago. Super hold cinched in deep on Shuko. Oliver English trying to put the mastermind to sleep, trying to cut off that circulation, that blood flow to the brain. We've seen Shuko step up to the plate as a tried and true tactics expert. We know exactly how much the First Nation means to this man. He is the man that orchestrated the uniting of this tag team. Up until a certain point, we knew that these two had such a loose alliance with one another. But it was around this time last year that we saw the First Nation officially join forces and consequently become a true tour de force here in KPW. And it's taken the rest of the tag team division a full calendar year to catch up with their strength, with their chemistry in and out of the ring. Slarty gets the tag. Slarty looks to move in on Hosway. strikes. And this is one hell of an approach from Hosway. You never want to engage the War Machine in a striking contest. And the First Nation, they are making Hosway pay for that bold move against the First Nation. It's already systematically trying to break down Hosway, deadlift German suplex, but Hosway's back on his feet. He's trying to reach out for the tag, and Oliver gets the tag in. And ladies and gentlemen, as we are receiving word from the board of directors regarding this bout here, all it takes is one fall to a finish. One of these two teams will get a tag team championship bout at Collision Course. And it's only a matter of time. We still have 20 minutes left on the clock. Will it be Shuko and Slarty of the First Nation? Will they be able to regain the tag team championships? Or will we see Parliament secure some more championship gold? A much needed advantage that they've been trying to get opportunity after opportunity for. All they have to do is just make that difference here tonight. All they have to do is get one of these two First Nation members pinned down to the mat, shoulders to the mat, pinfall or submission. And they have all the time in the world to make sure that happens. We're seeing that played out with Parliament in particular. They are in no rush to deliver one hell of a beating to the First Nation. They are in no rush whatsoever to take the fight to either of these guys. A victory here tonight for Parliament would quell a lot of the tension, especially between Oliver English and Hosway. And I think this is the very first time that we've actually seen these two men properly on the same page, properly motivated. Last week was a real eye-opener for both members here. But the First Nation, they've been completely unwavering in their goals and their loyalty. It's been established from the very beginning that these two view each other as equals. Moonsault from the top rope, catching the bullseye on Shuko. Shuko looking to make haste here. He was on the back foot, on the retreat away from Hosway. Spinning back heel kick from Hosway. Aims to keep the pressure high here. Northern Lights suplex, but Shuko's right at the ropes. Slarty gets the tag. Hosway redirects his attention to the War Machine. A snap suplex takes him down. Slarty tried to take Hosway down with a sweep kick. And that's a bold strategy from Slarty. Work down the legs of the secret weapon. It's not a bad strategy whatsoever. In fact, it could be more detrimental to Parliament if he's able to work down the legs of Hosway. And if you can apply that same tactic to Oliver English, that would completely neutralize and get rid of their best move in their arsenal. The very move that earned Oliver English the World Heavyweight Championship to make him the first time the inaugural KPW World Heavyweight Champion, the Big Ben. Hosway with the assist to Oliver English. Oliver looking to make Shuko tap here. And Slarty's right there to break things up here. The official Slapknife Jones, he is very rapidly losing control of both of these teams. Oliver English go for an Irish whip. Shuko hangs onto the ropes, hanging on to the corner of that turnbuckle pad. Double underhook suplex from Shuko. The odd man out in this situation, the odd man out in this tag team action here tonight. This could actually apply to both members of Parliament here tonight. Oliver English, the only World Heavyweight Champion in this bout, the only former World Heavyweight Champion in this bout. Hosway, of course, the only man in this bout that was not a KPW original, the only man that was not here from the beginning, from the very first Spring Stampede event. We saw Shuko compete on the very first edition of Warzone. He went one-on-one against the Sauce that night, and he emerged victorious in that endeavor. We saw Slarty in the main event of the first ever KPW event, that Four Corners bout. Slarty looking to provide one hell of an assist to Shuko. He's got a 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire. And that's the thing about the First Nation. That's what makes them so dangerous. They know exactly when they can ease into that back pocket of theirs and pull out quite the formidable tool of destruction there. A barbed wire 2x4, that would make for one hell of an equalizer. That could really put a dent in the plans of Parliament. Magistral Cradle! As Slarty just breaks things up in the nick of time. This tag team bout continues. All four of these guys are starting to look worse for wear at this point. Hosway looking to sneak in yet another pin here in Parliament. Can make the most out of a bad situation. Papyrus may not have been able to bring any pride home to Parliament here tonight, but Hosway carrying his weight for Parliament once again. Sneaks one in. He gets one over on the First Nation. Shuko especially, as he just clocks him with that forearm strike. Slarty, he was a long ways away from breaking up that pin. Oliver English grabbing Slarty in that front chancery. Slarty could not shift his body weight to break up the pin. He could not get Oliver English to break his stance. And look at what it cost him. This is exactly the kind of move that Parliament needed for their own personal morale. And And this could be bad news for the KPW Tag Team Champions, the Murder Hornets, because this is very well their future come collision course in just 19 nights. Congratulations to Oliver English and Hosway for putting their differences aside and scoring a major victory here tonight. But coming up next, our main event of the evening, as the blue chipper Bam Dardino goes one-on-one against the 7'4", 525-pound man beast, Crisp Billy. This has been such an unprecedented night of action here tonight. Bam Dardino marching alone here. This is quite uncharacteristic of Bam Dardino. He's not flanked by Aussie. He's not flanked by Ricky Rhombus, his compatriots, and the Bam Bus. He needs a moment like this to reinstill some serious amounts of confidence. He has not been the same man since Euphoria, and you can very well make the case ever since he lost the World Championship at Sabotage to Pando. Bam Dardino has not been the same man, but tonight he could really turn things around here. But he's got quite the gargantuan task at that, because what stands across the ring from him is Crisp Billy.
Fight!
Crisp Billy, he's got quite a bone to pick. And Bam Dardino might be a man that was at the wrong place at the wrong time. We know that Crisp Billy is now the man on the chase regarding the king of Stego style, Cory Sinclair. A man that has grown increasingly obsessed, increasingly alienating the Kumite faithful every step of the way there. We saw the depths that Cory Sinclair was willing to stoop to, the high grounds he was willing to sacrifice just to put away Crisp Billy. And it's barely been a full minute, and Crisp Billy has been in complete dominance, complete control of this bout. Bam Dardino has the odds stacked against him once again here. Power slam from the 500-plus pounder. And Crisp Billy using those massive hands to try and squeeze the life out of Bam Dardino. Huge throat thrust, courtesy of Crisp Billy. Big boot from Crisp Billy. Shoulder breaker to follow it up. Crisp Billy, he is just laying it. He is just pummeling Bam Dardino in the corner there. Bam's head getting rammed into the turnbuckle post there. And Crisp Billy, he is just relentless. He is just ramming Bam Dardino's head over and over and over again into that turnbuckle. Chris Billy, he's trying to position him for an electric chair drop. Bam Dardino shimmies his way out of danger. Chris Billy is quick on the move there. He is immediately repositioning and re-strategizing. Bam Dardino looking to steal one with an inside cradle, but he couldn't keep the legs in position. Chris Billy moving in, taking his sweet time, taking a personal joy in pummeling Bam Dardino.
1.
Action
2.
spills to the outside
3.
for the first time in this bout here tonight.
5.
Another big boot to
6.
take down Bam Dardino.
7. 8. 9.
Bam Dardino's head getting rammed into that guardrail
11.
as he keeps the pressure up, as he keeps the pressure
30,
high.
40. 50.
And if Bam Dardino was a smart man, if he was none the wiser,
18.
he would just call it quits from here on out here.
19.
Count of 19.
20.
And I'll be damned, he actually took the count out loss. He's on the back foot. He's thinking better of the situation here. But Chris Billy, he's not selling for that. Bam Dardino is doing his absolute best to try and stay away from the big man. Powerbomb on the floor. And I guess this is just the cold, hard truth when it comes to the 525-pound man beast. If there's one thing that he's not going to allow you to do, it's that you don't get to walk away unscathed and live to fight for another day. He is a man that certainly takes no prisoners. And tonight is no different. Ringside officials, they cannot even think to try and intervene here between Bam Dardino and Chris Billy. Nobody is stepping in to try and make the critical save here. Certainly not the Bam Bus. And I don't think they would have it any other way. Timekeepers, referees at ringside, they're not even trying to call for any sort of disqualification bell. They know better not to get involved in this, but Chris Billy, he is still laying in a serious beatdown as if this match never concluded, as if it never ended. This is just absolutely relentless from the man beast. As he just slammed Bam Dardino through that table. Lots of plywood, lots of heavy refurbishing. Interior design coming to the forefront here on War Zone here tonight. We saw it unfold with Steven Gilbert. We're seeing it once again with Chris Billy. There must be blood in the water here in the KPW locker room. As the Sharks have been out to play here throughout the duration of this broadcast. There's Billy with yet another table. At some point, you just have to say enough is enough. Somebody has to intervene and stop this for the well-being
Chris Billy,
of
that's
Bam
enough.
Dardino.
Stop it. You've made your message loud and clear. This bout is over. The KPW Board of Directors have ran out of patience for your attacks on officials and the other members of the locker room. As part of this disciplinary strike, the board is hereby reversing the decision of this match.
Oh my God!
Your winner of this bout, Bam Dardino.
That's certainly not gonna sit well with the man-beast. He's been on a quest for vengeance, a thirst of bloodlust. Chris Billy still taking the time to choke slam Bam Dardino through that table.
Knockout.
At first, we saw a count-out victory. Bam Dardino was a man none the wiser. A man that knows when to hold him and he knows exactly when to fold him. And I guess tonight, Chris Billy was going to be forced to learn that same lesson. If Chris Billy knew exactly when to pull back, if he knew when to stop sending that message, that's one that was certainly thinly veiled for Cory Sinclair to see. Perhaps we would still be calling him the winner here tonight. Bam Dardino sure as hell doesn't look like a winner. But after a controversial reversal of decisions, something completely unprecedented here in KPW, Bam Dardino is now technically victorious here tonight. And coming up next, the official contract signing for the World Heavyweight Championship. November 29th, Collision Course, as Pando will be squaring up against the Viceroy Jedi, two of KPW's most dominant champions, finally meeting for the first time ever, and we will have Roger at standby to officiate this and etch this bout into stone in the moments to come.
Now that security was able to escort the menace to the back, we can finally move on with more pressing issues. Folks, November 29th is the date for our next monthly special event, Collision Course. Our main event that fateful night may be the biggest match in KPW history. A battle of past versus present, a war between two of KPW's most valiant champions. Introducing first, the challenger. With an impressive 218-day reign, this man will get a chance to reclaim the gold that has become so synonymous with his name. We all know him as the Viceroy. Give a warm welcome to Jedi.
The Viceroy, looking as cool, as calm, and as confident as ever. We knew that when he lost that World Heavyweight Championship back at Mayhem, we knew it would only just be a matter of time before he would get another shot at the gold. And we've seen him rise to the occasion In fact, it was Chris Billy, the 525-pound man beast that he defeated for the world title.
And now, introducing the champion. A reign of dominance and destruction. A man that has very firmly solidified himself as the breakout star of 2025. He's the Siberian Silver Bear and your KPW World Heavyweight Champion. Give a round of applause for Pando.
And speaking of dominant champions, speaking of somebody that knows firsthand about dominance over the man beast, so at least one of the things that these two absolute champions, these two warriors, these two unapologetic fighters have in common. They have left their mark, they have left their impact felt across the course of KPW history. As Pando, he looks to continue his course of history.
I'm just here to maintain the order and make sure this contract is signed. Besides, the floor is yours.
Pando, I'm going to set the tone right here and now. I'm not going to sit in the chair and get on your level, because history has already shown that I'm still well above you. I wasn't a standard, paint-by-numbers boilerplate champion. I'm the Viceroy. Nobody took the ball and ran with it for as long and as far as I did. So as you gaze up at me, I want you to remember something. I'm not just another victim that you get to eat alive at Collision Course. I'm the bar, and if you think you can get away with your greatest hits just to meet me on equal grounds, then that World Heavyweight Championship is coming back home to its rightful owner.
Strong words from the Viceroy.
I should be looking up to you. You think you're the end-all be-all archetype of what it means to be a world champion? What did you have to sacrifice to get this far? I didn't get a head start in other territories like you did. I never had to be a journeyman like you. Look at my battle scars. Look at the fights I picked because I had every tool necessary to earn this belt. 6 months ago, I fought hard in one of the most gruesome fights under this umbrella. Slarty and I put each other through hell and back, and neither of us were willing to give up. You know what I did to force that hand? I put my life on the line. I threw caution to the wind and dove onto him from the top of an 18-wheeler. It was either him or me. If I missed, I wouldn't be standing here today. Look what it still cost me. I walked away with a brace over my knee. And this scar, it should remind you that I'm willing to die to make sure you can't take this championship away from me.
Look at the size of that scar.
You really think this will boil down
knee.
to greatest hits? I'm going to give you everything I have, because if you want me at my fullest potential, you're going to be a lucky man if you walk away at all on the 29th.
Pando making one hell of a statement, one hell of a point
And there you have it, folks.
And the battle scars speak
we have
for
a main
themselves.
event for the ages on the 29th. It will be Jedi challenging Pando for the KPW World Heavyweight Championship.
Are we interrupting something, bruv? Up here on the big screen.
Parliament intercepting the feed from their
Panda,
from
you
their
have some
production
serious
trailer.
balls to try and discredit just how far we pushed you when you seemed directionless on top. We cleared your dense skull out of the fluid that prevented any oxygen from getting to that tiny brain of yours. We made arrangements for your travel, made sure you could dress the part. And you just couldn't return the favor. No gratitude whatsoever. You still have that championship only through sheer luck. And while I can't challenge you for that championship, that's never stopped me from finding a loophole. Jedi, You should understand more than anybody else just how important timing is. Pando and I have unfinished business. But after that stunt you pulled at Madhouse, we have business to conduct ourselves. The Monarch didn't forget about what you did, and that's why we're gonna make sure you don't even make it to collision course. Next week, my main men behind me are going to formally introduce themselves to you. Because we don't have a legacy to preserve, it's about a legacy worth restoring. You will find out firsthand who really runs it all, punk.
Oliver English putting the hit out on Jedi.
It's amazing how much a man can run his mouth about running it all and have nothing but ancient history to back it up. What I've been able to do with my legacy was all by myself. You need 3 lackeys to get dirty work done, and yet the only forward thinking in that cult is courtesy of a woman that hasn't pledged any loyalty to you. But if you want to sacrifice your goons one more time, I'll put them in the ground for you. Just another victory lap for myself and Pando. And when that bell rings next week and my arms are raised up high, just realize the world is gonna find out that I'm more of a monarch than you will ever be.
Oh my God, strong. What one hell of a mic drop from the Viceroy. He is not flinching, he is not backing down for just a moment against Parliament. He's got plenty of targets aimed right between the eyes ahead of collision course. Both Pando and Jedi signing the dotted lines. We can now make their World Heavyweight Championship bout official for collision course on the 29th. And that is all the time that we have here, folks. I've been Tapy Styles, the only man that can call the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. And we will see you next week for War Zone, where Jedi and Pando will join forces to take on Chaos Control in the main event. Good night, everybody.